So I'm getting ready to ship these candle holders out. And this is something that I've been making for 20 years. They're a holly leaf candle holder. And the idea for this came from a Banna Hammers Blow newsletter, 20 years ago in the early 2000s. Saw it in there, thought this would be a fun project to make. So what I did was, at the time, I took the article and I made a photostatic copy, then I cut it out and made these templates. Then I would take these, I'd trace them out on a piece of 14 gauge hot rolled steel and cut them out with a plasma cutter, or actually the first ones I cut out with an oxyacetylene torch. And got them cleaned up. Once I got them cleaned up, you can see all the designs in it. You know, you've got a star in the center, and when these actually fold over, they make a heart. Oh, I can't. They make a heart when the legs go down. I don't know if I can get that in there or not. I guess you can kind of see it maybe. Yeah, so, and then afterwards, all the veining and everything, I would take a Sharpie or a piece of soapstone, and I'd draw the veining on, and I would set them with a cold chisel on the anvil, and then I would heat them up and set the veining deeper with heat. Took quite a long time. So, but I made a few, sold a few, gave a lot away to my family. After that, the next step, I got a treadle hammer. So I started to do these on the treadle hammer cold. And except, you know, it took out the heating, waiting for it, went a lot faster. And then that progressed to my fly press. And now I use the fly press to do this cold again. And, you know, probably works the same as the treadle hammer did, but it's a lot less effort. And when I'm getting old, I need that. So anyhow, so the candle cups here, you see a previous video how I do them now on my power hammer. I started out making these on the anvil, just with a guillotine tool that worked in my hardy hole. When I got the treadle hammer, I made a set of guillotine dies that would work in the treadle hammer. And then those dies went directly to the first power hammer I made. I made an air hammer, Kenyon style. Well, actually my style, but Ron Kenyon, I got the dies and everything for it, and I kind of made it off of a bull design, but I did it a little bit different. So, and then after that, I went to the power hammer where I do now. And so the handles on these are just made out of 1/4-inch square bar, and they're riveted down. And so not much to them, just a twist in it. And so the finish on this now, when I started to make these, I just cleaned the mill scale off them. I didn't have a lot to work with at the time. And so I would just heat them up and I'd beeswax them. And they looked fine. They really did. And from there, I went to brush brassing them with a clear finish. And those looked good too. And but now where I've evolved to now is these, I'll clean all the mill scale off. Like I said, I do these cold. I clean the mill scale off on the belt grinder. And what I do then is I use a black marker to do all my vein marking with. And there's a reason for that. So I'll mark it with the black marker, and then I'll go and put all the vein marks in on the fly press. And then when I go to put the finish on it, I use this right here, which is a Krylon stained glass paint. And they come in a lot of different colors. And it's translucent. So it's not like a paint. So it actually lets you, when you put it on the material, it's translucent. So I don't know how well you can see it or not, but you can see through it, and it lets you know it's steel. It's not just like paint. But the reason for the black marker is that when you hammer that down in, it kind of gives it a depth and some color to it. And I like that. And so you can kind of see here where you've got light colors, and it's not all one solid color like paint. So after that, the red on here, I use just a regular red die chem. I use this a lot for patina work and layout work, but it really works nice on patina. And again, it's translucent. And it goes on, when it dries kind of flat. And depending on how much dye you put on will give you the depth. And when you put the clear on, and this is the clear that I'm using right now, it's the Krylon Color Max Clear Quick Dry. Back in the day, they used to make this it didn't have a ball bearing in it, and that's how I always used to tell which was the good one. And they've changed the formula over the years. The part number is still the same, the 55-115 gloss, but they've just changed it now. But it still works good. It'll go on warm, and sometimes some products I'll put it on warm. And but once you put this clear on, the colors really pop out. It brings out that red, depending on how many coats you put on. I usually don't need to put on more than 3, and on these I've only put on 2. So, and once I get that done, I'll take a regular Mark All paint marker, and I'll go back in and I highlight the edges to kind of make it a frosty snow look. And then like I said, at the end of it, I'll give it a clear coat. So let's talk about how long it takes to make these. From the time I start the project, when I talk to a client, till the time I drop it off at the post office, realistically, I've got 3 hours in this. So for the 2 of these, I've got 6 hours. So, for an old retired guy like me, it's a day's work. And you say to yourself, okay, and I'm going to do a video on this later on how I price my work and my experience over the years I've been doing this, what my own method on how I do things. But, you'll get a lot of guys, they'll say, well, I make $80 an hour in my shop. Well, if you make $80 an hour in your shop and you took 3 hours to make this, that's $240. Yeah, you can find somebody that will pay you $240 for this. But you're going to find a lot more people that are willing to pay $60 for this. And that's what I charge for these $60. Could I get more? Yeah, probably. But I'm happy to get what I get, and at the end of the day, like I said, I'm retired, but even before I was retired, I got the same price. And when I would make these, and in my mind, in my shop, generally, I always try to get about $60 an hour in my shop for what I do. But that doesn't hold true for everything I do, especially in blacksmithing work, because it's so labor intensive. So when I get done with something, I look at how much the material cost, and in this case, the material I started having these burnt out by a CNC company. I gave them the pattern, they got it on file, and I had a whole sheet of 14 gauge burned out of these 5 years ago. And I've just had them in boxes, and so I just go to the box and I grab some. But I think for both these pieces, I might have $1.50 in material, and that's including the burning cost and everything. And if I need more, I just call him up. He's got it on file. I'll have him burn them out for me. But so you look at your time, your effort, material. Realistically, I probably got material cost, paint, and shop expenses, I probably got $10 in overhead in one of these, so I'm making $50. And at the end of the day, if I'm making $20 an hour on a job, I'm happy with that, because when I was working 40 hours, 80 hours a week, I was only making that the best. I was making $22.50 an hour. And so if I'm making $20 an hour here at home on these, I'm happy with that. Would I like to get more? Oh yeah, I'd like to get more. But realistically, the average person, they're not going to pay $250 for this, but some will. But I'd rather sell 4 of these for $60 rather than wait a couple of months to find that one person that'll buy one for $250. So that's kind of my thought on it, and I hope this helps you out. Can't really think of anything else. At some point when I get better at editing and videoing, I'll actually do a full demo on these and show you how I do them now. And in the meantime, if you're interested, go look up that Ibana Hammers Blow. It's in the fall edition, and it's between 2000 and 2005. So, you might, these are still available through Ibana. You can buy the old editions. Or if you know somebody that's kept all theirs, which I used to keep all mine, and I ended up with a stacked 3-foot haul. And when I moved, I just couldn't see hauling all that stuff. I had so much stuff, and I just had to downsize, how it goes. So, well, I guess it's off to the post office, and we'll see you later. And remember, if you like this, hit the like button, leave a comment, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And I hope your day is good. Bye.